Om Vakradunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Atha Panchamodhyayaha
अथ पंचमोऽध्यायः
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Shloka number 22 Ye hi samsparshja bhogaha dukkhayonayo evate
ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगाः दुःखयोनय एव ते.
Second need not be pronounced. Ye hi samsparshja bhoga dukkhayonayo evate Okay. Adyantavantak khaunte yanateshu ramate buddha
अत्यन्थवन्तः कौन्तेय नथेषु रमते बुधः.
So this is the next shloka. This another important shloka. The previous shloka, which we saw, there Bhagyasparsheshu asaktatma vindati atmani it sukam 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 akshayam shukam ashnute. The sukha which is not subject to change, not subject to declension. The Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, he enjoys labate vindate. Now in this shloka, how this akshayam shukam ashnute, how this akshayam sukam ashnute, this Brahma Yoga Yuktatma is said here. How we shall see how this latter interpretation is upheld. Latter, what is the latter interpretation? This shloka, either we can take it as the first, the previous shloka, the first line as the karma yoga, second line as the jnana yoga, that krama. That krama is given. That there is an order. That is the first line of the previous shloka. Bhagyesh prashesh vasaktatma vindatyatmani yat sukam sambrahma yoga yuktatma sukam akshayam akshute. The first line karma yoga, second line jnana yoga. It means karma yogena jnana yogyata praptihi jnana yogena jnanam then moksha iti krama. So therefore first line talks about antakarna shuddhi, then the person becomes yoga yuktatma, by which the sukam he gains. So that way we can interpret, or we can interpret the shloka as self as jnanam. So here also it says latter interpretation. What is a latter interpretation? That is the shloka itself subject to 2 or 3 interpretations. So the latter interpretation is that jnani enjoys akshayam sukam. So that is interpretation. Better interpretation. A person who doesn't depend upon any external object as a situation for his happiness, he could be a sannyasi or a karma yogi. So karma yogi sukha is going to be short-lived, whereas the sukha of a jnani, it is swarupa sukha. Karma yogi, the person's sukha, sorry, karma yogi, the sukha, not short. This is about the karmi is talking about here. This paragraph. That is what is the sukha, what the karma yogi enjoys, which is relative, and that is will be in an absolute sense by the absolute way by the jnani. That is what is sadhanam for a karma yogi, that is sadhya for the jnani. So whether it's a karma yogi or a sannyasi, there is certain cheerfulness, contentment is there. So as a karma yogi enjoys certain degree of sukha. As a jnana yogi enjoys swarupa sukha. So compared to the karmi, who does karma purely for the sake of sukham, compared to the sukha enjoyed by the karmi, the sukha enjoyed by the karma yogi is greater, and jnani sukha is swarupa sukha. So that is what is talked about. Therefore, two types of sukha. One is sukha at the relative level, and sukha at the absolute level, that is total, that is swarupa sukha. So now, in this shloka, taking this shloka to be in keeping with the latter interpretation, that is the order. The first line talks about karma yoga, the second line talks about jnana yoga. So karma yogena jnana yogita praptigi, then jnana yogena jnanam moksha iti. That order. That order we can take, or the whole shloka can be taken as jnanam also. That both interpretations are possible, as we saw before. As long as the interpretation is in keeping with the view of the Siddhanta, there's no problem. Therefore, any interpretation we can take. So the latter interpretation is taken here. I mean, keeping with the latter interpretation, that is the Bhagyasparshya Saktatma and the Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. If you take Bhagyasparshya Saktatma to be a Karma Yogi and Brahma Yoga Yuktatma to be a Jnana Yogi, therefore there is a Krama is there, order is there. Or the Bhagyasparshya Saktatma, Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, both can be taken to be Jnani also. That way also it is possible. So therefore here, Bhagavan says that Sansparshaja Bhogaha. Sansparshaja is, Ja means born, which is born of sense contact. So therefore Bhoga means enjoyment. Enjoyment which is born of the contact of the sense organs with the sense objects. It is Dukkha Yoni. It is a Dukkha Yoni. Yoni means source. It's a source of pain. And because it is Sansparshaja Bhogaha, therefore Adyantavanta Kaunteya. Even the pain or sukha or dukkha, both are subject to arisal and departure, beginning and end, adyantavantaha. Therefore, jnani do not revel in them. Jnani do not revel in the sukham which are obtained because of the contact of the sense organs with the sense objects. Because those enjoyments that are born of contact between the sense organs and the desirable objects are the sources of pain, dukkha yonayaha. Adyanta Kaunteyaha. One is Dukkha Yoni, that is one reason. Another reason is Adyantavantaha. It arises and then it departs, subject to arising and departure, beginning and end. Therefore, the wise person, the Viveki, the Jnani, do not revel in them. Ateshu Ramate Buddha, Jnaninaha. Buddha Jnani do not revel in them. So both the words, Bhagyasparshesha Saptatma, first line of the previous shloka, and Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, second line it is mentioned of the previous shloka, are commented upon here. That is taking this to be the taking these words to be the description of the jnani. The objects contacted by the sense organs are some sparsha. Sparsha meaning contact, as we have seen before also. Bhagya sparsheshu, that shloka. So between the sense organs, indriyas, and the desirable sense objects, indriya vishaya, ishta vishaya, there is contact. Because of contact of the sense organ, sense object, there is the experience of sukha, pleasure and pain, sukha, dukkha. There is contact, and because of that contact, there is a sukha, bhoga, here, meaning enjoyment, a pleasant experience. Need not be, be pleasant. Pleasant or pain depends on the sense object. There is experience, but here, pleasant experience is talked about because a person is carried over by pleasant experience. Therefore, is after that experience again and again. These pleasant experiences, they are born out of sensory contact with the desirable sense objects, samsparshaja, bhogaha. Bhagavan also says that these enjoyments are the dukkha yoneha, potential causes for sorrow. It may be sukha in the beginning, but they are the causes for sorrow. Dukkha yoneha, yoni means womb. Therefore, the enjoyments or pleasant experience born of the contact between sense organs and desirable sense objects, they are the wombs or the potential causes for dukkham, they are the causes of sorrow. Why? Because even before gaining these pleasant experiences, there is dukkha in that you have to work for them until you get them. Arjane dukkham, then dakshane dukkham. Working to get the sukham, it is that involves pain, dukkham. And retaining them also involves dukkham. So it's all the way dukkham only. To bring a desirable object or pleasant experience into alignment with the sense organs is not an easy thing. If you want to see an object that is away from you, either you have to take yourself to the object, you have to work for it, or bring the object to you. That also, for that also, you have to work, you have to put effort. If it is a mountain, you have to go to the mountain. If it is something else, you may be able to bring it to yourself. Either way, you have to work. Therefore, there is ayasa, there is effort is involved. You have to work for coming into contact with it. So coming into contact, therefore, it involves effort. You either have to come in contact with the object or it has to come into contact with you. For that, you have to work, effort is involved. This contact has to take place, which implies a lot of effort on your part. And this is only the beginning. It is only the beginning. So therefore, arjane, dukkham. Then when the contact takes place, it must be proper. It must be desirable. Contact with the undesirable causes pain. The sight of a favorite dish make you happy. But if you put it on your tongue, it is too hot. There is a problem. Sight of it was one contact, which was desirable. But the contact, the food that made with your tongue was another, which was undesirable. That's why it is proper. The contact must be proper, must be desirable, must be proper. Seeing is an experience, but touching, it is hot, therefore undesirable. Thus, to ensure the contact is proper and desirable, it's not always easy. So, proper and desirable, both, that always not easy. So, these are the problems involved. That is why dukkha yonaha yavate iti. And also, the desirable experiences cannot exist because it is born at a particular time. Therefore, it is subject to go away, pass away. How long the desirable contact can last is another problem. So, therefore, the process of experiencing an object itself may exhaust this object, and then you will miss the contact. The object disappears, subject to. You also are subject to disappearance. Either you go away or the object goes away. If you go away, that is another issue. That is another problem. That is not the discussion here. But the object goes away, then you suffer. So, or you yourself may become tired, yes, and therefore unable to continue the contact. There's another possibility. Therefore, either way, there is contact with the sense objects. Contact with sense objects is missed, it's loosened, it's lost. That causes pain. The beginning to earn is a pain. Then establishing contact with that also involves effort. That's also a pain. The attitude or the mood to enjoy also goes away. And again, you lose the contact. That is also another. Whether you due to change of mood or the sense organs becoming tired or the object no longer available, all these are possibilities. You always find that this kind of happiness is always transient, only temporary, not long lasting. Nothing lasts for long. So if not, therefore it is only temporary. If not momentary, it is temporary. When it goes, it leaves you high and dry, it leaves you unhappy. Therefore, dukkha yonayaha evate. We see then that before gaining enjoyments, there is dukkham. Dukkham is the effort involves pain, therefore dukkham. After you get them, you spend your time thinking, I'm going to lose this happiness. That is another dukkham. Finally, when they are over, there is more dukkha. It is gone, therefore dukkham. So all the way it is dukkham. Again, you have to work for them. All enjoyments are the sources of sorrow. Dukkha yonayaha, yukkha yoni. Yoni means source. Because they have a beginning and an end. Adi anta. Adyantavantaha. It arises at a time. Therefore, Adi. Anta ends also. Therefore, they are Adyantavantaha. Adi Antavantaha. They are called Adyantavantaha. Adyantavantaha referring to the, the enjoyments, the Sukhanubhava. Sukhanubhava. So, all desirable contact is a beginning. The end is the desirable contact is no longer available. This means that the bhogas are all anitya, temporary, transient, not lasting. They are not eternal, non-eternal. The person who understands this, the limited nature of enjoyments which are obtained because of the contact of the sense organ with sense objects, they are called Buddha, Jnani in this shloka. Buddha means Viveki. Thus, Buddha can be taken either to be a discriminatory person or a wise person, Jnani. Buddha, it means Buddha. Jnanam is involved, that Viveka is involved. So, Viveki or Jnani we can take. In this commentary of the shloka, Shankaracharya defines Buddha in the latter sense. Latter means Jnani. If we take it as a buddhi, then it is karma yogi. He has got nitya, nitya vastu viveka, therefore karma yogi. Or Buddha, if you take it as a jnani, who understands the truth, the tattvam, the real nature, the truth of oneself. Avagata paramartma tattvaha, who has the understanding of the paramartha tattvam. Avagata paramartha tattvaha. Paramartha tattva is atma tattva, atma agam, atma, it is free. Doesn't depend on anything for its purnatvam, adequacy. Therefore, the one who knows avagataha, avagataha, what paramata tattvaha, yena saha, that person. Therefore, buddhaha jnani ityartaha. So, Shankaracharya takes buddhaha to be jnani. Because Viveki understands the limitations of ordinary happiness, he or she goes after the happiness that doesn't wane. That is why the Viveki doesn't go after the happiness which are subject to change, doesn't wane. Akshaya Sukham, that in wax doesn't wane. Which is why the person is called Bhagyasparsheshu Asattatma, the one who is not carried away by the fancies of the mind for external objects. Because of the person's viveka, discrimination, he or she becomes Bhagyasparsheshu Asattatma, is a viveki. Enjoying a natural cheerfulness, this person, the karma yogi, goes about doing only what is to be done, not bound by anything. Karma yogi enjoys certain a cheerfulness, cheerful attitude, doesn't get influenced by raga dvesha, therefore bhagyasparsheshu sattatma, therefore he does what is to be done, not bound by anything, not bound by anything, not bound by raga dvesha for the vishayas. Therefore the karma yogi may enjoy certain objects, but he or she is not bothered by any of them. And this karma yogi, on becoming a brahma yoga yuktatma, who is endowed with the knowledge of brahma, atma is brahma, he gains happiness, which is akshayam sukham, doesn't wax, doesn't wane, giving oneself to one's desires. In this introduction to the shloka, Shankaracharya points out that the desire or the longing for enjoyments is opposed to serious inquiry into oneself, an inquiry that requires a certain maturity. Vichara requires certain maturity. The vichara should be preceded by a certain mastery over the longing for the enjoyments of the objects. That is, you must have viveka vairagya. A person who wants to understand Atma, Brahma, the ultimate, and who at the same time wants to go to the discourse, will have no time for such an inquiry, discourse, party. That person will not have no time for inquiry. Not only time, not only time, even the mind also. First, the mind of such a person has to be fixed up, but he or she will not have time for that either. The person is acting out of the raga dvesha, likes and dislikes in his or her mind, but not dealing with them directly, properly. Only when you begin to deal with the raga dvesha, then you only become a vicharavan, inquirer, a serious person, a sadhaka, a seeker. So you become a inquirer of the truth only when you commit yourself to it exclusively. So you deal with raga dvesha directly, then you become a seeker, serious seeker. Otherwise, it is a yo-yo seeker only. So this for the yo-yo seeker, this seeking doesn't work. That's why moksha purushartha, moksha is a jealous pursuit. It doesn't allow any other pursuit to dominate. Moksha should be the priority. So therefore, it demands that you to be a serious person, a committed seeker. Serious person is a committed seeker, commitment. So that involves certain tyaga. Like you want to gain knowledge, you have to give up sukham. Vidyarthi chet sukham tyajet. Sukharthi chet vidyam tyajet. If you want knowledge, you have to give up sukham. If you want sukham, you have to give up knowledge. If you want both, no, both cannot be gained. Knowledge demands certain tyaga, certain knowledge. It involves certain effort. The effort is painful. So knowledge involves certain effort. So if you are vidyarthi, you have to give up sukha. Getting up early in the morning, committing oneself to the studies in spite of the laziness. So you have to give up the laziness. So that is a tyaga. Sukha tyaga. Comfort. Giving up the comfort, giving up laziness. So commitment to study. So vidyarthi. Sukharthi chet vidyarthi jati. If you're sukharthi, if you're after sukha, then you have to give up knowledge. Knowledge cannot take place. So knowledge or sukham. Similarly, moksha. Moksha are other than moksha. Only one. So moksha is a jealous person. It will not allow other pursuit to dominate. So therefore, the person who is committed to moksha is called as it's a seeker, serious seeker. It's a vicharavan. Is committed to inquiry into the truth. Avagata tat paramata tattvaha is. You may have 100 problems, but as long as you are ready to deal with them, there is no real problem at all. The person who deals with his or her problems already has a certain maturity. And the problems of such a person will resolve in time. Kalena, it is resolved, karma yogi. But for the person who is given to the problems themselves, where is chance for him, for her to deal with them? Yes, submitted himself completely, surrendered to the problems. Therefore, you will not have any chance to deal with them. Giving oneself to one's desire is a real problem. So, therefore, requires a lot of resistance to the desires, longing. And as Shankaracharya says, it's opposed to the pursuit of moksha. Kamaha Shreyo Marga Pratipakshi. Desire is the Pratipakshi opposed to moksha. Shreyo Marga is moksha marga, moksha. Pursuit of liberation, moksha. So karma, desire is the cause of all the problems. This problem then is the one that is most difficult to deal with. What? Karma. This raga. Raga for desirable. And dvesha for undesirable. That is a problem. That is pratipakshi. Moksha marga pratipakshi. Shreyo marga pratipakshi. It is opposed to the pursuit of moksha. So therefore karma has to be handled. So karma, and also karma takes away the mind of the person from the pursuit. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha, second chapter, Visa, Dasita Pragya Lakshana portion. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha, Sangasteshu Pajayate, Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. Kaman, Kamat, Krodaha Bijayate, Krodad Bhavati Sammaha, Smriti Vibravaha. Smriti Brahmishat, Buddhi Nashat Pranashati. Kama leads to Kroda leads to Sammaha, and Moha leads to the forgetfulness of what one has studied, and therefore Pranashyati gets destroyed, spiritual destruction. So Kama is a cause. So Kama and Krodha. Krodha is nothing but a form of Kama. That is why Kamo Karshi Namo Namaha. Yearly once this Kama Karshi Japa is done. Kamo Karshi Kama Karoti Nagam Karomi Kama Karta Nagam Karta Kama Karahita Nagam Karahita Yeshade Kama Kama Yuswaha. I didn't do this, Kama did. Kama is a Karta, Agamna Karta. Impel to be Kama, it is done. So it is Kamo Karshit Japa. Similarly, Manjura Karshit. So therefore, the desire is the cause of all the miseries. Buddha also said the same thing. Desire is the root cause of all problems. So being controlled by one's desires, kamas is considered to be the most difficult problem. It is the problem. In fact, it is a problem, most difficult problem. Shankaracharya continues because now the next shloka is going to talk about that. Shankaracharya continues because it becomes a cause for that which you do not want. Dukkha in all of its many forms. What is the source of dukkha? Kama. Who wants dukkha? Nobody wants dukkha. If you don't want dukkha, then you have to be free from, relatively free from the desires. What desires? Binding desires. Free from desires which are binding, free from desires which are illegitimate. Illegitimate binding desires. Even if it is legitimate desire, if it is binding, it will be an obstacle, it will cause dukkha only. For example, if you lose your health due to overindulgence of certain desires, you lose your money. You will lose your money and a variety of other things in the process. Or losing your money, you may lose your health. And these karmas in the form of raga dveshas are not easy to eliminate. They are durnivara. In other words, they are difficult to get in hand. Therefore, what is required is some extra prayatna. Ayasa is required. Therefore, extra effort is required in order to bring about an antidote for karma, and Bhagavan infers that in the next shloka. Another beautiful shloka here. It is important shloka. Says the one who is able to conquer kama, krodha in this life, here itself, while living itself. That person is an happy person. Is a karma yogi. Let us read the shloka. Shaknoti haiva yasodum prak sharira vimokshanaad.
Shaknoti haiva yasodum praksharira vimokshanat.
Kama krodhodhavam vegam sayuktas sasukhi naraha.
Kama krodotpavam vegam sayukta sasukhi naraha.
Saha is a karma yogi. Saha sukhi naraha is an happy person. Who? Yaha praksharira vimokshanaad, before becoming liberated, before he is freed from the sharira, that is before death. It means while living. Who is able to, sodum, who is able to endure what? Kama krodod bhavam vegam, the force, vega, that means the force of kama krodha, udbhavam vegam, who is able to stand, who is able to endure the force which is born of kama and krodha. Force means the impact of kama and krodha is so much that one must be able to shaknoti, sodam shaknoti, withstand, was able to. Means kama and krodha, kama takes away the person from the desired, the pursuit. Therefore, one must use this choice, which is not an easy one. One has to use all his strength and willpower to keep them under check. That is the conquer. We say kama krodod bhavam vegam, who is able to endure. Endure means not just put up with. You should be able to have command over the kama and therefore krodha. Not carried over by kama and krodha. That's not an easy thing. If one is able to do, that person is a happy person, is a karma yogi. That's why karma yogi is, in spite of raga dvesha, is not dictated by raga dvesha, because he has certain strength, certain Control, self-control. Even though karma dictates, he doesn't obey karma. He just follows the order. What is to be done, he does. Therefore, sodum shaknoti. By karma yoga, a person can withstand the pressure of raga dvesha. That is the only technique. One may fail, but one has to again, by abhyasa, one has to gain mastery over that. There is no other way. One may fail, but still one has to continue. One has to continue to put effort until one gains mastery over that. Because karma takes away the person from the moksha pursuit. It is the biggest obstacle. Therefore, if one is able to handle, then the obstacle is not there. Therefore, one will be able to gain the end, which is Sukham Akshayam Sukham. That is the Sukha, which is Swarupa Sukha, Atma Sukha, that is Jnanam. Therefore, the person becomes Sukhi. Sukhi Naraha. The end is Sukhi, and while living also is happy person. Sukhi Naraha. Because not troubled by Kama and Krodha. Therefore, he is happy. That is the idea. The shloka we will see. We'll read the commentary tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Dhanyavadaha.